Welcome to the deep dive. We're your shortcut for getting straight to the core ideas, the really impactful stuff.
And today, we're definitely not just scratching the surface. We are diving deep, really deep, into what you might call the foundations of modern thinking.
That's right, we're tackling three absolute giants: René Descartes, David Hume, and Immanuel Kant. Big names, big ideas.
Big ideas, exactly. And our mission here isn't just academic. We want to pull out their key insights on, reality, knowledge, how we know what we know, and even morality.
But crucially, how does this actually apply to you? How can you use these, well, frankly, pretty profound philosophies in your everyday life?
That's the goal. We're aiming for those ha-ha moments, getting you up to speed quickly but thoroughly, helping you see different viewpoints and feeling, well, empowered by it all, not buried under jargon.
Okay, sounds good. Let's dive in. First up, René Descartes, often called, and I think rightly so, the father of modern philosophy. We're talking 17th century here. And he just completely shifted the conversation with this, well, it sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful statement. Cogito ergo sum.
I think, therefore I am.
Exactly.
And what's so revolutionary isn't just the phrase itself, right? It's how he got there. For Descartes, that wasn't the enemy. It was the starting point. It was his essential tool.
How so?
Well, he figured to find any truth that was absolutely undeniable, you had to first try and doubt everything. Seriously, everything. Your senses, maybe they're deceiving you. The world outside, maybe it's a dream.
Whoa, okay. That's pretty radical.
It is. He kept stripping away layers of belief until he hit something he just couldn't doubt. And what was that? The very act of doubting itself. If he was doubting, he must be thinking.
And if he was thinking.
He must exist. I think, therefore I am. That was his bedrock. The one absolute certainty he felt he could build all other knowledge upon.
Okay, I get the logic, finding that one unshakable point. But, I mean, for us listening now, doubting everything sounds, well, a bit much, maybe even paralyzing. How do we use that practically?
Yeah, that's a totally fair question. It's not about walking around in a constant state of existential crisis. The real takeaway, the practical bit for us, is that true knowledge, real understanding, it starts with self-awareness.
Okay.
It starts with having the courage to look at your own assumptions, the things you take for granted, and actively question them.
So less about doubting if the chair I'm sitting on is real and more about doubting my ingrained beliefs.
Precisely. So a practical step, maybe try a little daily reflection. Just ask yourself honestly, what's something I believe pretty strongly today that maybe, just maybe, isn't entirely true? It's not about self-criticism. It's mental training, training your mind to distinguish between what you believe and what you actually know. It's about intellectual honesty, really.
Right, separating belief from truth. That's a useful distinction. Okay, so Descartes builds up from this foundation of certainty found through doubt, but then about a century later, along comes David Hume, who seems, I don't know, ready to pull that philosophical rug right out from under everyone. He's often described as a radical empiricist.
That's a great way to put it. Hume represents a major challenge, particularly to Descartes' rationalism. His core argument, all knowledge comes only from experience, sensory experience.
Only experience. So no innate ideas, no pure reason giving us truth.
According to Hume, nope. He argued the mind starts as a blank slate, a tabula rasa, and experience writes on it. Our mind just observes patterns, notices things happening together, and forms habits of thought based on that repetition.
Okay, so if it's all based on my personal experience, how firm is that ground? It sounds a bit shaky compared to Descartes' certainty.
It is, and Hume leans into that uncertainty. Take cause and effect, something absolutely fundamental to how we understand the world.
Yeah, like flick a switch, light comes on, cause effect.
Right. But Hume said, think about it. Do you actually observe the causal connection itself? Or do you just observe one event, the flicking, followed consistently by another event, the light coming on?
I guess I just see the sequence repeatedly.
Exactly. Hume argued that cause and effect isn't some logical truth we perceive. It's a habit of our mind. We see A followed by B enough times, and our mind just connects them, expects B to follow A. It's an assumption based on past experience, not logical necessity.
So dropping a pen, I expect it to fall because I've seen things fall countless times, not because I've logically deduced some innate law of gravity just by thinking.
That's Hume's point. It's based on observation and habit, not pure reason. And that, well, it is unsettling. Like you said, it suggests our grasp on reality is maybe less rational than we think.
Wow. Okay, so what's the big lesson from Hume for us then? If reason isn't king, what is?
Hume's insight which feels incredibly modern, actually, is that we humans are guided much more by our emotions, our passions, and these mental habits than by pure, detached reason.
We're not the rational creatures we sometimes pretend to be.
Not nearly as much. Our perceptions, our judgments, they're deeply shaped by these repeated experiences, these mental shortcuts, what psychologists today might call cognitive biases. And often we're not even aware it's happening.
So, the practical side of Hume. How do we use this knowledge that our minds form habits and emotions are often in the driver's seat?
Well, it encourages a certain intellectual humility, doesn't it? Next time you feel absolutely certain about something, maybe an automatic judgment about someone or a situation, just pause.
Take a breath.
Yeah, and ask, okay, is this certainty based on solid evidence right now? Or is it more of a mental habit, a pattern my mind has fallen into based on the past?
Check the source of the certainty.
Exactly. And maybe also practice more emotional awareness, just acknowledging, okay, my feelings are strongly influencing this decision or this judgment. Hume gives us permission, almost, to admit how much our feelings guide us.
Okay, so we have Descartes demanding rigorous doubt to find certainty, and Hume saying, hold on, maybe that certainty is just habit and feeling? It feels like they're pulling in opposite directions.
It certainly seems that way, a real tension.
And this is where Immanuel Kant comes in, right? He is often seen as the great synthesizer, the one who tried to bridge this gap between Descartes' rationalism and Hume's empiricism.
Absolutely. Kant is a towering figure, partly because he tackled this very problem head-on. He read Hume and famously said it awoke him from his dogmatic slumber. He saw the power in Hume's critique, but wasn't willing to abandon reason entirely.
So how did he bridge that gap? What was his solution?
In his massive work, The Critique of Pure Reason, Not Light Reading, by the way, Kant made this really elegant argument. He basically said, okay, Hume is right in one sense. All our knowledge begins with experience. We need sensory input.
Not to Hume?
Right. But, Kant argued, our mind isn't just a passive bucket collecting experiences. It actively structures that experience. It comes equipped with certain built-in categories or frameworks.
Like software that organizes incoming data?
That's a great analogy. Things like time, space, causality. Kant argued these aren't things we learn from experience. They are the very structures the mind uses to make sense of experience in the first place. They are preconditions for having any coherent experience at all.
So experience provides the raw material, but our mind provides the organizing principles.
Precisely. Our mind actively shapes the reality we perceive. It doesn't just mirror the world. It helps constitute the world as we know it. It's a synthesis. We need both experience, Hume, and the mind structuring activity, a nod back towards reason, but different from Descartes.
That's a profound thought, our minds actively co-creating our reality. And Kant didn't just stop at how we know things, did he? He famously applied his thinking to ethics, too.
Oh, absolutely. Huge contribution there with his concept of the categorical imperative.
Can you break that down for us? What is the categorical imperative?
Sure. Kant wanted to find a basis for morality that was grounded in reason and universally applicable, not dependent on changing circumstances or consequences or feelings.
Okay, a solid foundation for ethics.
Yes. And his principle essentially is act only according to that maxim, whereby you can at the same time will think that it should become a universal law.
Right. A maxim being like my personal rule for acting.
Exactly. Your reason for doing something.
Yeah.
So what Kant is saying, before you act, ask yourself, what if everyone acted based on this same rule or principle I'm about to use?
What if the rule became universal?
Yeah. Would it create a world that's rational, functional, a world you'd actually want to live in?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, if universalizing your maxim leads to a contradiction or a breakdown, then the action is morally wrong.
So it's not about will I get away with this or will this make me happy, but could this principle I'm acting on be a rule for everybody?
That's the core of it. It emphasizes intention and the universalizability of the rule itself, rather than just focusing on the outcomes. It's about duty and principle.
So Kant leaves us with these big ideas. Our minds shape reality, and morality should be based on universal principles. What's the practical application there?
It's incredibly direct, actually. Before making a decision, especially an ethical one, try asking that Kantian question. What if everyone did this?
What if everyone lied when it was convenient? What if everyone broke promises?
Right. Would society even function? Thinking this way forces you to consider the integrity of the principle itself. And it leads to another key part of Kant's ethics. Treat people always as ends in themselves, never merely as a means to your own end.
Respecting their inherent worth and autonomy?
Exactly. Because they are rational beings capable of setting their own ends, just like you. It's a powerful guide for interaction. think universally, act with integrity.
Wow. Okay, so bringing it all together, Descartes tells us to doubt, to question assumptions relentlessly to find clarity.
Start with doubt.
Then Hume comes along and reminds us, hey, be careful. A lot of what you think is certain is probably just habit and emotion speaking. Check your biases.
Yeah, examine those habits, be aware of the feelings, be humble about certainty.
And then Kant provides a framework saying, yes, experience matters, but our minds structure it. And D, we can use reason to build a universal ethics. Consider the principle.
Think universally, act morally based on that.
It really does feel like they form this kind of triangle, a foundation for navigating the world.
You could almost call it a triangle of truth, maybe. Think deeply, like Descartes urged. Feel honestly, acknowledging Hume's insights about emotion and habit. And act morally, using Kant's universal principles as a guide.
Think deeply, feel honestly, act morally. I like that.
It's a powerful synthesis, taking the core wisdom from each. What a journey through these foundational thinkers. We've definitely dug into some really crucial ideas about how we see the world, how we learn, and how we choose to live.
Absolutely. And the hope is that you, listening, can continue to apply these principles. Keep questioning, keep examining your habits and feelings, keep considering the universal impact of your actions.
It's about continuous learning, continuous growth.
So here's a final thought to maybe mull over. How might really internalizing this understanding that your mind actively shapes your reality and that your emotions and habits are powerful drivers, how might that empower you? How could applying this triangle of truth help you live more intentionally day by day?
Something to think about, definitely.